What's going on, guys? My name is Tommy. Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another episode of Wednesday Afternoon Worship. We've got one more homebrew deity coming at you today, again, at the request of the Black Dragon disciple Marvalis. We're cracking open the Prose Edda, and we're looking at the chief of all the Norse gods, Odin. If you like what you're seeing, as always, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Helps out a lot. Before we get underway, this episode of Wednesday Afternoon Worship was brought to you in part by Joseph Citadino. My friend, thank you so much for your time and support. Now, let's get to it. In Norse mythology, Odin is the king of the Aesir. Odin is the god of wisdom, poetry, war, death, divination, and magic. Odin is often accompanied by the two ravens, Hugin and Munin, roughly translated as thought and memory, along with the wolves Geri and Freki, who would devour those who would present false information or otherwise lie to the god. Odin rides into battle atop his trusted steed, the eight-legged Sleipnir, which appears in Pathfinder, wielding the mighty spear Gungnir, which was fashioned by the dwarves, and is said to never miss its target. A defining trait of Odin is his being one-eyed, a result of him having sacrificed his right eye to drink from the well of Uror, which granted him an incomprehensible amount of knowledge of the universe. Half of the souls of those slain in battle are guided by the Valkyries to Valhalla, Odin's enormous and majestic hall. It's worth noting here now that we're covering Odin as Odin, O-D-I-N, but in Old English he was known as W-O-D-E-N, Woden in Old Saxon as Wodan with an A, which all stems from the reconstructed Proto-Germanic Wodenaz. I figured I would cover him in the name he was requested. In Pathfinder, I think it's kind of a crime, to tell you the truth, that we have the lands of the Lenorm Kings in Galerion, and hey, if you feel like watching one of the oldest ever videos this channel put out, follow this card right up here to be directed to our coverage of the region. But we don't have Odin, Thor, Freya, Loki, the Norse pantheon in Pathfinder, especially when you consider on the other side of the world, in Osirion, we have the ancient Egyptian pantheon. The Old Norse pantheon just slots right in, and really for the same reasons, Dominion of the Blackest-Side, I suppose, that the Egyptian pantheon does. We just assume that as deities like Gorum or the Orc gods or things of that nature made their way across the inner sea to the bounds of the region, the old gods just turned away for a little while and then recently came back. Maybe one day we'll see more official content for the Norse pantheon in Pathfinder. Until then, we've got your back. Odin is true neutral. His domains are knowledge, death, war, magic, and nobility, with the subdomains leadership, memory, thought, and divine. His favored weapon is the spear, and his symbol is the Valknut, 3 triangles interconnected. To perform Odin's Black Dragon Gaming homebrew deific obedience, and hey, as always, if you think you could do these a little better, throw them in the comments. Goes like this. Find a quiet place in which you will not be disturbed. Drink fresh water from a small bowl, and then contemplate the knowledge you have gained in your life while keeping one eye shut. If you possess a means of scrying, spend this time looking upon all that you can with the intent of increasing what you know. We're going to shake it up a little bit today. Instead of getting a small bonus on some kind of skill check, in return for this, you gain either a Sage, Raven Familiar, or Wolf Animal Companion of any archetype. Use your hit dice total to determine the creature's special abilities. Evangelist boons grant us Magic Fang 3 times a day, Strong Jaw twice a day, or once a day, Greater Magic Fang. At 16th level, Odin grants you a mental link with your bestowed companion. You gain an empathic link with the creature chosen with your obedience as a hunter of your level. At level 20, Odin grants you a second companion to aid you on your travels. You gain a second wolf or raven companion as per the initial benefits of your obedience. You also gain an empathic link with it. Exalted boons grant us Magic Weapon 3 times a day, Holy Javelin twice a day, or once a day, Blazing Rainbow. At 16th level, Odin bestows upon you his own steed to carry you into battle. A number of times per day, equal to half your level, your companion, granted from your obedience, can transform into a Sleipnir, while still retaining its bonuses from being a familiar or animal companion. The transformation lasts for 1 minute, transforming is a standard action. At level 20, you may treat a spear as a lance for the purposes of spirited charge, and may throw a spear as if it were a javelin when charging. A number of times per day equal to your wisdom modifier, attacks you make with a spear while mounted and charging are made against your opponent's touch AC. Sentinel boons grant us guidance 3 times a day, scrying twice a day, or arcane eye once a day. At level 16, the wisdom of the Allfather helps you find creatures you seek with divination magic, despite the obstacles in your way. Creatures you scry receive no bonus to their will save based on your knowledge of the creature, and scrying spells you cast can penetrate physical barriers, including lead. At level 20, Odin grants you a drink from the Well of Uror. Doing so permanently destroys one of your eyes, and nothing short of divine intervention can restore it, though doing so causes you to lose all of your obedience benefits until you atone. You gain a +8 bonus to your wisdom score, permanent true seeing, and any scrying spell you cast automatically succeeds, even across planar boundaries, or against creatures under a mind blank spell or similar effect. Now, I have played a character who's worshipped Odin. It never really was fleshed out that much, and really it might be more accurate on his character's sheet to say he is an Asgardian pantheist. But I really like Norse mythology, and it's fun to roleplay out the Einherjar in training for Ragnarok. Whether or not you catch a lot of flack for naming your Magus Magnus is an entirely different story. But if I were to ever play that character again, and I sincerely hope I do, that's a big facet of his character. Serving the gods, prepping for the eventual end of the world, as before he came mechanically an Aasimar. He was a human who made boats and stuff. He was a carpenter who defended his family despite his undetermined, because I hadn't got that far, was a one-shot disability that caused him to not be a warrior. The Valkyries see this, they bring him up to Valhalla, and boom, Aasimar Magus. And I certainly would play, on that note, other characters of other Norse deities. Really, this is a pantheon I'd like to see fully fleshed out, and if I ever get through all of the requests and have time to actually pick what I want to do on this series, we might see some more Norse gods come down. I also have the pleasure of GMing for a character who worships not the D&D god, but the Norse god Tyr. That's my closest tie to Odin if I were to GM for a character who worshipped Odin. However, it's more or less, maybe not entirely the same thing, but it would be kind of like worshipping Tyr's general manager as opposed to Tyr himself. Odin's also known to travel the world disguised as an old bearded man, so GMing for a player who worshipped Odin almost certainly means that at several points in the course of that campaign, the player will probably come into direct contact, whether they know it or not, with the Allfather, so the campaign pretty much writes itself. I'll also say that though I didn't expect the game based on Ogre Battle 64 to go to Ragnarok when we started doing it, GMing a game where Ragnarok will take place has been very fun. The snow's real scary when it's 4 feet deep and it's negative. We don't have a means of determining temperature in this setting outside. And I don't know exactly what my characters will be fighting, like the Norse gods fought at Ragnarok at the end, but I do know if I had a character who worshipped Odin, it would probably be the giant, biggest, most scariest wolf that I could put as many templates as possible on, as Odin himself is fated to be eaten by Loki's wolf child Fenrir. Norse mythology's weird. Regardless, what do you guys think about Odin? Have you ever played a character who worshipped a god like Odin from this pantheon, or GM'd for one? And would you like to see more content moving forward from Earth pantheons? If so, throw it in the comments. We'll get right to it. I seriously doubt that we'll see it, but hey, you never know. We might get the Norse pantheon in Pathfinder 2nd edition, maybe even in Doomsday Dawn. You guys have just under a month to follow this card right up here to enter in that giveaway. Remember, as always, patronage at any tier grants you a second entry in the giveaway. And you know what? It'd be only fair if I noted that Magus, who worshipped Odin, that I did play, was played at the Inn of Planar Crossroads, and if you'd like to watch that one-shot, follow this card right up here. Thanks for watching, guys. Be sure to like and subscribe for more videos. The next episode of Wednesday Afternoon Worship, where we take a request away from the homebrew and back to a core deity with Zon Kuthon, drops next Wednesday.